The University of Manitoba Singers are presenting their first concert of the 2025-2026 season. It's a concert filled with warmth, and I'm not just saying that because the singers are standing close together and singing. Although, that said, the concert is called Stand By Me. The group's conductor, Elroy Friesen, has stopped by the Classic 107 studios to tell us more. Nice to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
So maybe we could even take a bit of a broader scope just to start here. What sorts of things are you considering when you're planning out this year's concert with the U of M Singers for 2025-2026? Not just Stand By Me, but the whole range of repertoire that you'll be sharing.
There are a few components. The first thing is this is a tour year. Every 3 years, University Singers, typically every 3 years, University Singers goes on tour overseas. So we're off to Sweden and Amsterdam for this tour. And so you need repertoire over the course of the year that you can sort of create a program that can be sung in a variety of venues in Europe without piano and like with light percussion perhaps. So you're thinking that. And the other thing is that every few years we like to do a concert that is sort of curated to pique the interest of high school choirs and their teachers. And so this first concert, again, we are actually doing a full sold out concert on this Thursday afternoon. So repertoire on this program will hopefully speak to their thinking, maybe where they're at right now in our world situation, how things are at school, whatever is going on. So and then picking repertoire that they can relate to, and hopefully some of it that they can actually perform if they wanted to. So it's a really wide variety on this program, wider than typical, I would say. And if someone was a first-time choir concert goer, this would be a good one to go to.
It's because you have this huge grab bag of repertoire and all these different subgenres of choral music. When you touched on something really interesting there about the idea of picking music that people within the community who are already singers, if we think about those high school choirs, can then tap into speaking into the condition of the world as we know it. What does that look like in practice when you're looking around at the world and you're going, you know, what would be a good song to respond to that thing? What is that? That's a pretty big responsibility if I think about it.
I think I used to want to be very specific and like here is a poem or a text that answers this particular question, and now it's more like in my curating the program, I'm finding threads of ideas and trusting that my audience is intelligent, which they are, and that they can pull some ideas. But in this particular concert, we're starting with the really old classic Stand By Me, but it is not sung. It is sung as it's a reworking by a young Swedish composer, by Henrik Dahlgren. You will recognize the melody in it, but you will not recognize the style at all. And that idea of we want to open up with this idea of community, like we need each other, whatever the situation is, and that it also ties in with the Rheinberger for the choral nerds out there. The Rheinberger bleib bei uns, and it's that same thing, like stay with us or stand by me. That idea. And then there are elements of the program where the repertoire is a reflection of where things are falling apart in the world. For instance, we're setting a young orphan girls, refugee orphan girls poem of "We Can Mend the Sky," and she's Somalian, and she had to flee for her life, and she, along with some of her classmates, were asked to consider writing some poetry for Jake Runestad to create, and so. We also see the intensity of war and the ravaging of people's lives. And so there's this juxtaposition of when community is healthy and when community is unhealthy.
Have you noticed over the years, because you've been the conductor of the U of M Singers for a minute.
A long time.
How have you noticed that selection of repertoire and the things that you say with your ensembles change over the years? Has it gotten more direct? Has it gotten more literal to be able to say that's going to be something that speaks into our current world condition, or was it always thus?
Yeah, no, I think as a conductor, I have become alerted or become aware. I've woken up to that. I find I have come to understand more and more that singers want to sing something with intention and something that means something. It can mean joy, it can mean silliness, it can be very serious, and it can be very light, but there needs to be an intention that everyone can get behind. And honestly, there's one piece on this program that they did not buy into until maybe last week.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like, I think this piece is great, and I think this is just the one for the times. And I would say that they did not. 50% of the group did not buy in until last week, and I think now everyone's in on everything. I'm pretty sure, but I do find that if it's something that they can't relate to, like I don't pick just a pretty piece of music.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a pretty piece of music, but not because it's a pretty piece of music. I think something changed during the years of COVID. Because for me, there really was a shift in mindset. I don't know why, but there's a big change since COVID for sure.
Okay. It occurs to me that during that time we saw a lot of different social causes come to the fore. If I think about the Black Lives Matter protests that were occurring across the world, if I think about our growing acknowledgement of the horrors of unmarked graves at residential schools, things to that effect probably feed into this as well. The last time you were in the studio, Elroy, I think was back in April, and you touched on this idea of students becoming more invested in this repertoire as well. How much do the students offer you by way of, you know what I really want to sing about this year is this idea of unity and coming together? What do students bring into this process of creating not just your upcoming season, but also for this concert, Stand By Me, taking place this weekend?
Well, in this concert, they didn't get much choice on repertoire. There was some influence on repertoire. There was a thing or two that was pulled, and some things that we talked about order, concert order, and where they felt things naturally led. And then also when we were in the space yesterday doing our dress rehearsal. It's a space where I want students to say, this setup isn't working for whatever reason, or we can't, we think it would be a good idea if we did this. So I'm quite open to that. This concert's being put together under time constraints because this is early. The choir, only 1/3 of the choir is returning this year. It's just the COVID sort of blip is making its way through. So there's huge changeover, and so some of the things that might have come together more easily or more naturally with last year's group has just taken longer. I felt that we kind of hit a new peak yesterday at rehearsal, so I think we're in great shape for that.
It occurs to me also that with that COVID blip that you were just talking about, that the experience of touring and the experience of being out in the world as a choir is perhaps over the last 5 years, a more limited experience compared to some of the earlier years. What are some of the things that you're noticing about the prospect of getting a choir ready to go out into the world that have maybe changed in that time period, and how that affects how you think about getting ready for that this year?
I think in some ways it's easier to tour now. The last tour we did was Spain 3 years ago, and that was the first time after COVID. And because of our smartphones, everyone having a smartphone, we could just text and say, let's meet at this restaurant for our final dinner. And you drop a pin and everyone shows up because Google will tell them what subway to get on. Or everyone gets themselves to Amsterdam this year. They all buy their own plane ticket, and then we take the tour from there. So on the technical side, I think it's easier. I don't know financially what the implications are. I mean, it's an expensive endeavor to do an international tour for the students. But Sweden is, the choir contacts I have there are eager to join up with us and do things. So I feel like it's really a great time for us to tour right now at the university level. I know high school is different, but at the university level.
Yeah. I know that there are going to be some people who are listening to this and are really excited about the prospect of attending Stand By Me this weekend, but maybe they're on the fence, maybe they're cold, maybe they're, whatever else. I'm told there's baseball games on or something. I don't know. What would you say to that person who is on the fence right now about how this concert stands out?
Oh, well, I can't compare it to sports. I'm really not a sports fan. But as far as a concert that I think will engage an audience, this one is pretty great.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And I was beaming. I've been beaming since yesterday's dress rehearsal because it's like, yep, this is a hot concert. So
You walked in here beaming. We're excited as well.
Yeah.
Stand By Me with the University of Manitoba Singers taking place at the Crescent Arts Center in Osborne Village on Saturday night, November the 1st, 7:30. We will link to all the information and a link to your tickets at our website, classic107.com, and the Classic 107 app. Elroy Friesen, it's been awesome not just to chat about this concert, but about this year and the considerations that go into planning a season for the U of M Singers. Thank you so much for taking the time.
thanks, Nolan.